What an absolute assassin. Hellie, Jouban Chiesa back with you on UFC Live. I know we've had active champions, but 4 title fights in 1 year for Poatan, and then you have the first 2 rounds where he started kind of slow. He was behind on the scorecards after 2 rounds, and then slowly but surely gets more active, lands more strikes, and then he finishes it in the 4th round. And just another title defense, another day at the office for Poatan.
He showed why he is such a special fighter in that fight, being able to make those adjustments on the spot. But Khalil Rountree, can we give this man a little bit of love? The first 2 rounds, Khalil got right in his face, got right into the fire, got in the pocket, and used that explosion against him. You know, Alex Pereira is always the taller, longer fighter. He wasn't used to somebody covering distance that much. But later on in the fight, 3rd round, 4th round, you started seeing him. The pressure started to make Alex Pereira start to dwindle, and you started seeing the check right hand come in there. He was able to get the finish. Khalil Rountree showing all heart. There were lots of times right before that ending sequence that we thought the fight was going to be over, but Khalil was able to stay in there. A fight that a lot of people said, why are we having this fight? And then when the fight was over, Michael, and you were the one that I talked to you about this, everybody said, what an incredible fight so far, probably the fight of the year candidate.
Everybody that was complaining about it were the same people that were saying, oh my gosh, this was the greatest fight ever. And I got to give some credit to my teammate Khalil Rountree. This is a guy, Anderson Silva said it in 2015 in an interview that Khalil Rountree is a future champion. This is a guy that one of the greatest of all time had pegged as a future champion. And Khalil fought him with bulletproof confidence. He did what most people won't do, which is stand toe-to-toe with Poatan. But in that 4th round, Alex Pereira had it, when we talk about Anderson Silva, one of those moments like he was in the Matrix. Like, remember when Anderson Silva fought Forrest Griffin? How he just had hands down, slipping, ripping. He had his range, and it was one of those similar moments that Poatan had where he was just in the zone in that 4th round. His pull counters were on point. He showed why he is one of the most dominant champions we have seen in a long time. He is so much fun to watch, but I got to give my flowers to Khalil Rountree because he went out and did something that most fighters won't do, and that's stand toe-to-toe with Poatan.
He did something that most did not expect him to do. He represented himself very well in that title fight. Let's take a look at the pound-for-pound rankings. So much chatter and discussion about this. Obviously, we know how our boss Dana White feels John Jones should be number 1. Hasn't fought in a long time. He's number 3 behind Pereira and Islam. I'm just curious to get your guys' take on this because in my mind, yeah, I could see Jones at number 1. I could also see Alex at number 1 as well.
I have it. I have Alex Pereira at number 1, and I'll tell you why. Look, the biggest reason a lot of people disagree with Dana White about John Jones is to say he's been inactive. Okay, well, let's take that argument and apply it to this list. Who's the most active champion we have had almost throughout history? It lists Alex Pereira. And not only is he an active champion, but every single one of these fights that he has finished, he finished. He knocked guys out. He took it on short notice. He puts a bow on top of a card where people leave the arena going, what an amazing card. Even if the rest of the fights weren't that fun, he's able to make people leave there excited.
Of all time, without a doubt, John Jones is the pound-for-pound GOAT.
Sure.
Without a doubt, of all time, when you're talking of the history of the UFC of mixed martial arts, John Jones is pegged at the top, and there is no close second. But for right now, the current pound-for-pound list, I would have Alex Pereira at the top, and a lot of it has to do with his frequency of his fights. And some of those title defenses have come at opportunities, short notice rematch against Yuri Prochazka for UFC 300, things of that sort. So it's been a very opportunistic title run. He's been the guy he's the guy to call when they need someone to fill in for a big spot. But to me, he is the current pound for pound, in my opinion, because of the frequency of his fights and the success that he's having. He is dispatching these people. He's not just beating them. He's not just winning. He is dispatching these contenders and turning them around in violent fashion.
Yeah, and 2 different weight classes, too. Like, that's the most amazing thing. I mean, at what point does he move up to heavyweight and become the UFC's first 3-division champion? I think it's only a matter of time.